talking about it and do something!
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate.
Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent? Is your friend?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Jem's Flat Earth Sunday Roast. In tonight's show, we answer the questions you were afraid to ask, such as, who needs science when you have catchphrases? And, did Germany's Nazi leaders escape to set up the Flat Earth 24/7 Discord server? And, where oh where is Riley's thesis? All this and more as we spend the next couple of hours on a tour of Conspiritardia. I am your host, Jem, and joining me this evening, as always, are just some of the cool kids from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. They are Curved and Cat at the moment, with possibly some more people coming later on. Hi guys, how are you?
Having nightmare, my technology. I'm hearing your voice over and over again. I don't know who's talking to what.
Right, yeah.
Broken.
I'm actually having a nightmare too, because I realised the Hangout wasn't showing in the thing, so I deleted it, which was totally the wrong thing to do. Hopefully,
I've got to actually drop out because I'm hearing everything over and over in a loop. It's really driving
all
me
right.
mad. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just get on with introducing the first clip, and then while we're watching that, I can sort the shit out. So, is everyone hearing me in the chat? Say yes. I will just sing along for 20 seconds or so until this bit of me gets through. How are we doing, guys? Sorry about this. I reinstalled my computer this week, so nothing's where it should be. Everything's wrong. So just waiting for a little bit of response. Any response at all? Looks like all of... Oh, I see a response. Thank you. Good. Well, that's encouraging. All right, well, I'm going to get on and do this first clip. And while we're doing that, I'll sort me shit out. So, I'm sure everyone has heard of the Mugabe effect. I know, you thought it was called the Mandela effect. But that's just an incorrect memory caused by a reality shift. Speaking of reality shifts, you're about to experience one because in this reality, Jeran of Jeranism makes logical, well-reasoned arguments that you will agree with. Yes, it's true. In this clip, Jeran is joined by Brian Staveley, a guy who takes the Archbishop Desmond Tutu effect very seriously. You will also hear the voices of Globebusters Bob, Karen B, and Rodrigo Nunes, and enjoy some examples of the Idi Amin effect. Enjoy.
None of these things could ever be proven in this reality then if they've changed? Or the only way we have to prove
that's not true because there's residue. There is so much leftover evidence. Like, for instance, all these songs that change, right? So, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, for instance, the song Under the Bridge, they say, it's the city I live in, the city of angels, because they're singing about Los Angeles. That song doesn't say City of Angels anymore. It says City of Angel. Anybody that's ever parodied it says City of Angels. So, and here's the thing. So people, if you go and it's not about the media changed or the song got re-released. You could pull out your own version of Red Hot Chili Peppers, hard copy, CD, record, tape. You put it in. He's going to say City of Angel. And then everybody will say, oh, you're just misremembering. It's always been that way. Well, I can show you 2 live performances because for some reason, even though all the official music would change, when these people sing live performances, you will catch them in 1 or 2 live shows, and they will sing the lyrics the way that we all remember. So the people that wrote the songs misremembered. I mean, why would it be the City of Angel? It was definitely the City of Angels. I think it's part the collective consciousness, and I think it's part signs from the Creator to get us to notice certain things like the ridiculous changes in people's Bibles that has nothing to do with reissuing and different versions of the Bible before anybody goes there. We can get into that, though, after, I mean, or whenever.
Yeah,
but rather than change important things, if it's God doing it to point things out, why would the Monopoly guy be changed?
Exactly. So why would the Monopoly guy be changed? Well, the thing is, it's not just the Monopoly guy. That's what the media wants you to think. It's the Monopoly guy. You're mixing it up with the Planters Peanut guy. It's the Berenstein Bears. Those are just the surface level changes to get to resonate with people that some people like us might use. I don't ever talk about that. We'll talk about the history. We'll talk about the Bible. The lion and the lamb. I mean, Isaiah 11:6, you ask anybody what animal lies with the lamb. It's the lion. Well, now it's been changed to the wolf. Is that a sign from the Creator? Like, hey, the wolf's in the house. You know what I mean? And the thing with that is, so when we would point that out and people would say, well, that's just in the King James, because it was at first, right? So then they would come with, it's a translation issue. Greek to Hebrew, this, that, and the other. Because what they would do is they would use all the other versions of the Bible against us because they still said lion and the lamb. So they told us King James was an error. Then periodically, over the last 3 years, that has incrementally seeped into every Bible that everybody here has. If you want to debunk me, pull out your hard copy to Isaiah 11:6 and show us how your Bible still says the lion shall dwell with the lamb. It's not in there anymore. It's changed incrementally in front of us. But there's so many examples. Like in The Wizard of Oz now, the Scarecrow has a gun. And then I show my friend, and I'm explaining to him the Mandela effect. He's like, well, I have the movie. He's like, so if we put in The Wizard of Oz right now, he's going to have a gun. I said, dude, go get it. He put it in. The Scarecrow had a gun. And then several months later, after we had already watched the movie for changes, the Tin Man has a giant wrench now. The phrase fly, my pretties fly no longer exists. She just says fly, fly, fly. These movies are incrementally changing in front of us. And then there's other things that we all know, like Judge Judy. She had a gavel. She don't have a gavel anymore. Never has. And this is on your hard copies. So this doesn't matter if things were re-released. Statues on Easter Island, a lot of them have hats now. Michelangelo's Moses, yes. Easter Island statues have hats now. King Henry no longer has a turkey leg in his drawing. And I mean, how many examples of all these things changing are we going to accept as a coincidence or a mismemory or somebody led us a certain way with the parody? It's time and time and time again.
Because I know what our memories are built off. Our memories are built off past experiences, past conversations, past commercials, past so the person who wrote the Ace Ventura movie had the exact same memory we all did of the Monopoly guy having the monocle. And
you don't think there's other screenwriters that would be like, hey, what are we doing here with this movie? We're paying all these actors to come on. We're going to film this.
No, because totally everybody, that's what I'm saying. Everybody has the same memory.
Manager to art director to say, well, this looks much better in this monocle.
It doesn't even take
somebody
that.
To
it doesn't take that. All it is everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers that. So you write it in there, and then guess what? Everybody who read that script, it becomes part of their memory. That the Monopoly guy, of course, had a monocle. That's what this person wrote in the script. Why would he write that if it's not the memory? So you build from there. Now, everybody who's watched Ace Ventura, that's been added to their memory. So before you know it, you've got a whole world of people, or a whole, if you want to say United States, if you want to say people who watch movies, everybody's got this memory built in. But when you go back and look at the actual boxes of the Monopoly game, he doesn't have a monocle. So I have two choices of what to believe. One, the one that makes sense to me, that everybody remembers it wrong. Or two, that cardboard boxes are changing in reality. And if you think I'm going to believe that, I've got another thing to tell you.
Doesn't really sound crazy than saying the Earth was flat 5 years ago, does it?
That cardboard boxes are changing? Yes.
That's
sorry.
Quite different.
Far
It's quite different because
crazier.
we can unravel the whole deception of
I
how
can
into the ball.
I've done all the research into the deception. I've seen it from the time as far back as you can go, how they've managed that deception. But I have not seen anything that tells me cardboard boxes in antique shops change the faces of cartoon characters.
Have you seen the video of the cars that have those extreme bass systems in it, and the car, like the door is vibrating and it looks like liquid, like the glass?
Sound.
We saw that. Remember, we showed it on the show.
Right. So that's sound vibrating and changing the way that you think that particular matter should behave, right? Like,
right, because we know that the sound is there. We know that the sound is there. We can.
Sound's physical.
The sound is physical. We can measure it. So where's the sound right now? Where's the sound that's causing my desk to stay here?
Right, but sound is still somewhere on the electromagnetic spectrum. It's just that frequency that you can feel it and hear it. but there's things that you can't see and hear and feel, right?
Sure.
And
I agree with that,
don't
but I
really
don't think that
understand what the effects of those things are, because the electromagnetic spectrum that we all are familiar with is like 1/10 of 1/10 millionth or something of the actual electromagnetic spectrum. So we don't even really understand it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I understand it. I'm saying we don't understand it, and looking at this stuff is just sort of us trying to understand it.
No, I get that, and I'm certainly somebody, which is weird because a lot of things that I research and stuff, nothing scares me. There's nothing that scares me about anything I research. The Mandela effect, in a small way, scares me, because if that is true, then really I don't even feel like everything gets thrown out. Like if that's the case, then why do any research on anything? If anything can change at any point, then what good does it do to learn about something?
And that was the Mandela effect. I still haven't managed to sort this stupid thing out. Can't get it to see the hang.
So it gives me great pleasure.
Let me stop that one. How you guys doing? Can you? Did you guys get all that?
Yeah. Jerry having a rare moment of clarity.
yeah. It was. That's why I thought that was worth hearing. Although it did drone on a bit, I know, but I think it's funny because most people just go, "Oh, that's so weird. How I remembered that wrong, and you knew it," and they just dismiss it as a kind of a freaky thing. But this Brian Staveley guy is absolutely committed to the idea that this is some weird, reality shift thing that's going on. I mean, you heard him talking about the Bible there. Do you know of any of those changes in the Bible?
I've heard them in their videos. Do you know what I mean? Their claims of it, but I wouldn't know anyway, to be honest. So, just the whole thing's always a bit silly to me. A lot of them do get you. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that, and it's not true. But
right. I mean, that's where it really has always fallen down for me, because it's called the Mandela effect, and I never thought that he died in prison in the 1980s. So it's a failure from the start for me. But a lot of the other things as well, I when I hear that Brian Staveley guy talk, I think, well, he's just a guy with a really, really crap memory. He just gets everything wrong. Because a lot of it I don't get wrong. And also another thing I would note about it is a lot of it is American.
Well, no, there has been a change in the Bible. It used to say, and the lion and the lamb shall lay down together. And now it says something like the wolf that lays down with the lamb.
Right. But isn't this a translation thing? Aren't there different versions of it?
Could be. But there's definitely a Mandela effect. It's something to do with CERN, right? CERN is firing particles, colliders. And they're actually building another collider, a new super billion-dollar investment to make more portals. Obviously, again, because what they're trying to do is let some kind of entity through a portal, right?
Shiva.
That's it. Everyone knows about it. Yeah, Shiva, all that kind of stuff.
I should just announce to the audience that Kimo has arrived.
Yeah.
If you hadn't figured it out.
Yeah, if you hadn't figured it out already.
The bigger one, it will be more impressive than just changing a few things about some films and.
No, that's just testing how you. Because obviously, when you open a portal, they can't do too much because they have to stick to the plan, stick to their agenda, right? You can't just have some random person just changing everything and anything. I mean, they could if they wanted to, but no. Obviously, they have a plan. These devices, these machines, these computers. These supercomputers are designed and built for one reason and one reason only. And
to talk to the other side.
That's right. They want to open portals. They want to open the doorway. And so when we see these changes, they're just like tests. Like if you were dropping or you made a new weapon, you'd want to test it, right? How does it work? Okay, let's change a few things here. And they've been successful because I absolutely remember some things that were completely different. Like we were talking about the Monopoly one there. I heard that one there. I mean, there were several like the Febreze, There's the other
All
ones.
right, let me test you with one then, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Our Father, who art in heaven, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our...
No. Our Father,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
I've jumped ahead a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. And forgive us our...
Trespasses.
Who...
Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Yeah. Okay. Ever heard another word there instead of trespassers?
Yes. Yeah.
What
Those are
word?
different ones.
What word, Curved?
Debt.
Yeah, debtors is apparently used. That's a Mandela effect.
I remember both. It
Possibly.
depends on the translation, I'm pretty sure, as to which one you're going to read.
Well, Brian Staveley had this big deal about how that, you know, that nurse Kate Shamani, that one that we've had on, she's a Christian. And apparently at the end of her live stream, she always says the Lord's Prayer, right? And he had this whole thing about how she says trespasses, and yet with her on her live stream, she has a King James Bible, and in there it says debtors.
Right.
So, but you know, I don't think he realised if she's anything like me, she didn't learn the Lord's Prayer by reading it out of the Bible. You're just sort of taught to chant it at school.
Yeah.
You know, you never. I don't think I can't ever remember seeing it written down. I mean,
But I think the
probably
big one, I mean, is the Luke Father thing. I mean, that has to be one of the
that gets me
biggest ones ever. I mean, I'm not hearing anyone else telling me that, oh, you misheard, or he said that. You know, we know he said Luke.
Well, I think, I mean, Staveley dismissed it very quickly, but I think a lot of these things get parodied. You know, somebody does an impression of it, or someone parodies it in a commercial.
No, the guy, the actual actor.
And then people remember the parody.
The actual actor, Earl something. The actual actor,
James Earl Jones.
James Earl James, the actual guy. He said it. You know, the actual phrase in an interview. So we're not, and this is called residue.
His memory is the same as the rest of us. You know, he's susceptible to the same, you know, memory lapses as we all are, right?
No, he's gonna have said that line 1,000 times. He will know that.
Yeah, but he may have said it 1,000 times, but he may have actually said it, you know, about 6 times in a hurried, busy film set when he was trying to remember a load of other lines, and then he
dubbed it afterwards.
And then since then, he's heard it 1,000 times. Wrong.
And what's the other one? Build it and they will come.
Oh yeah. Field of Dreams. Yeah. You know more, key man. You know more.
They're all changed. Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. There's a real spiritual. Because you guys are atheists, you don't see the spiritual battle that's going on, right?
That might be it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, did you catch the Mandela effect highlighted by Karen right there in that hangout?
No, what was that?
Sound occupies this little spot on the electromagnetic spectrum. See, that's not what we used to be taught. And now,
I know. I thought I had to leave that one in there because it was quite a long hangout. I thought when I came across it, I thought, oh, they're talking about Mandela. That'll do. You know, we'll have a little chunk of that. You know, they won't be talking about it for long. When I got the hangout down, there was over 2 hours of them arguing about that shit. It was unbelievable.
I'd like to measure her brainwave activity against that of a brick.
Because she does the show with Staveley quite a lot. They quite often live stream together. So, you know, she's bought into it. Well, she buys into everything.
So what? You guys think that just millions of people are just misremembering?
I think that, yeah.
Millions of people misremembering.
Well, I think if they're being misdirected to misremember, yeah, you know what I mean. They're remembering.
What are you saying that you remember it differently?
Well, I mean, how about Mandela? Did you think he died in prison in the 1980s?
No.
Right, there you go. So there's one that you know doesn't work, and it's the first one. you know.
I remember the concert, Free Mandela thing.
Yeah.
But another one for me was the James Bond with the Jaws teeth, the girl.
Oh, yes.
With the braces. Now, are you saying that you remember her with no braces?
You know, I don't really remember it. I couldn't comment on it now because the only, my most prominent memories of it are of people talking about this Mandela effect where she never had braces.
No, she had braces.
I thought she didn't have braces, but
No,
everyone
now
remember.
she doesn't have braces, but
Right.
in the movie she had braces. That was his attraction to this girl. It was like, oh, she's got teeth and he's got teeth like this, and it just made perfect sense. Now when you look at it, it looks weird. Like, why is he attracted to her?
Because I think that she's got big, perfect teeth, and he's got like no teeth.
No.
Have you seen Iraq?
Iraq. Is that is that a war film?
No, her rack.
But yeah, she was like, a nerd of some kind, and she had the braces, the glasses, the whole thing. And now, I don't know how anyone can't understand. That scene makes absolutely no sense when you see it now with this attraction. But yeah.
I got one. At the end of Star Wars, they changed Anakin to be the newer actor, the younger guy. That's the Mandela effect.
Oh, and there's another one with
and they changed the song.
C-3PO. He's most people remember him as being all gold, but he has a silver leg.
But that'll be because of the CRTV monitors and the VHS tapes. Most people watched it.
Yeah, I think so, and also because,
sorry, go on.
For instance, I have a copy right here of Starburst, the first ever Starburst, which was a kind of a science fiction mag that came out off the back of Star Wars. And in that, there's some black and white photos taken on the set of characters and stuff. So I think maybe people are mixing their black and white memories with their colour ones.
No.
Here's one for you then. Here's one for you. The Zapruder film, of the Kennedy assassination. Colour or black and white?
Black and white.
Chemo, do you know it? Oh,
yeah,
just cut
back now.
Yeah.
What was that? The 4 seats or 6 seats?
No. The film, the Zapruder film. The famous
JFK
film. Yeah, color or black and white.
Well, it was in color, wasn't it? No, it was originally in black and white, but they made it in color. No.
Well, I always remembered it in color, but apparently this is a lot of people remember it as being in black and white. Apparently.
No, I think it was in black and white first, and then they enhanced it. They enhanced it, yeah. But the one that's absolutely ruined ruined it for me is the A-Team van. Now I know, being a fan of the A-Team, that it was all black.
And now it's sort of dark grey or something, isn't it?
Yeah, now they've changed the front or something. Now this has done my head. It's almost like someone needs to pay for this change. They've ruined everything here by...
Well, they haven't really, have they?
Yes, it just wasn't that way. It makes no sense. It's not logical for it to be grey. It was,
It is logical. It is logical because humans have we have crap memories that play tricks on us like this, right? I mean, how many times have you experienced deja vu? Where you think
yes, I can, but not like this though. Not when you're a fan of something. It's different if you're a fan of it. So you watched it weekly. You knew you had all the toys. You had the characters. This is different in this case. And then you're just like, no, people are like, no, you remembered it wrong. It's like, no way. I know that was all black. That van there. I just know it. But they've made a movie on this now. I've only got halfway through it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that when I was looking around at this. Yeah, I didn't spend any time on it, but yeah, I noticed there was a movie.
They've done that on purpose, yeah. The Mandela Effect movie, yeah. Again, just to throw poison. And just to say, oh, you see that in the movie, didn't you? Right?
Yeah, that will totally poison it, won't it? Shall we have another clip?
Yeah, okay, let's move on.
Yeah, all right. We will. We turn now to a conspiracy we have only dipped our toe in before, and we dipped it on the western side of the Atlantic. So it's back to dear old Blighty now for some Old English sovtardery. Our Canadian cousins are also represented. Enjoy.
So it gives me great pleasure to announce two guests tonight who are going to cover the subject of Article 61 and take us right the way through the journey of what it is, how it's used, all the best things that we should know about Article 61.
Magna Carta is our only forever binding constitution that predates Parliament, so they can't touch it. It can only be changed by the people via a constitutional convention of the people.
In 1666, what an odd number, the Parliament passed an act in secret that basically said that everyone was dead at sea.
And everything they've done is treason. And the treason goes back centuries. Yeah. They have completely hoodwinked the people. And it's time that we stand up and say no more of this. And once the people have redressed, we're actually going to have a constitutional convention of the people, and we will be removing the protection from Central London out of the Magna Carta, because Central London is actually run by Rome. So Article 61 gives us a way to pick up our pens and fight back. Actually, Article 61 does apply to the United States. Okay. They don't like to hear things like their Declaration of Independence is a treasonous document.
Okay.
But it is. In 2001, the Barons Committee discovered that the Treaty of Nice, was a treasonous document. Was a treasonous document. So they petitioned the Queen to rectify the situation and not grant royal assent to the Treaty of Nice. They gave her 40 days to ratify the situation. And she responded on the 39th day via her private secretary with an unsatisfactory response, basically saying she didn't have the authority to do that because the treason has been committed and the crown has been usurped. That left the barons absolutely no choice but to invoke the security clause. And they did so on March 23rd, 2001.
Okay, so not long ago, 19.
Is the only law in effect to this day. When Article 61 was invoked, because it is such a powerful law, there's actually a number of things that happened on that day. First, Article 61 became the only law in effect. The Queen was constitutionally dethroned. All of her governments throughout the Commonwealth were dissolved, and all treasonous documents became null and void. The government was dissolved. They have absolutely zero authority since March 23rd, 2001. They don't have the authority to make acts or statutes or legislation or anything else. They are criminal imposters posing as our government. They are an unlawful entity.
We don't have to be governed by them. We don't have to accept and consent to everything that they're doing. But the only way you can do that is by making a notice or an oath that says, I no longer consent to this. I no longer want to be a part of that. I am taking back my sovereignty and my God-given right to govern myself.
Understood.
Yes, and our oath actually breaks all contracts with the treasonous regime, and that includes the fraudful contract. The one I refer to most is Lord Craigmile. He was involved with the petition to the Queen and the invoking of Article 61, and he's definitely accepting oaths. So he's the one we generally go to the most. We have many success stories throughout the Commonwealth. I myself have been successfully using Article 61 for over a year now. Okay. And I've got the Alberta Sheriff's Department completely terrified of me.
Fantastic. That's the oath, which basically says Dear Lord Craig Mile, which is one of the barons, in full knowledge of treason being committed in Parliament by delivering the sovereign peoples of this common law land into the hands of foreign powers, in understanding of some wrongdoings done by the present holder of the office of sovereign, from whom I now transfer my allegiance, do so willingly and wholeheartedly, enter into lawful dissent as the Lord demands by royal command, and I solemnly swear upon my oath to obey the direction of the Lord's Barons Committee, whom invoked Article 61 of the 1215 Magna Carta on the 23rd of March 2001 in accordance with royal command to do so, as long as said barons act strictly in accordance with the constitutional law at all times without deviation until such times as redress of these present wrongs have been achieved.
Sovereignty trumps all. You can be a free man, but you're not sovereign. Sovereignty means we are kings and queens in our own land.
Okay.
That sovereignty trumps a free man. It's higher status, shall we say?
There are basically different notices here that you have to serve, I believe, and they all need signing and witnessing.
The notices go in a particular order by putting a judge and the chief of police on notice.
That chief inspector who received that notice from you, if he didn't inform his officers all below him, that makes him malfeasance in a public office, right? He has committed a crime because he has failed to inform every officer under him that you are under oath to the Magna Carta, and he has basically not done that. That's how powerful this is.
The notices are extremely powerful. I know when I put the Canadian Prime Minister on notice, as soon as he received the first notice, he was actually in Saskatchewan getting ready for a $1,500 a plate fundraiser. And as soon as the notice arrived in Parliament, he canceled all of his fundraisers and events, and he flew back to Ottawa for an emergency meeting with his cabinet. So they are very powerful notices indeed. David Robinson used Article 61 to actually seize Glastonbury Town Hall in 2015. So these notices can actually lay the groundwork for public building seizures. And we actually have a constitutional duty under Article 61 to seize government buildings and assets using Article 61. And that's really how we're going to seek redress. We have to take those buildings. They're our buildings. They belong to us. So by using the processes to lay the groundwork throughout the Commonwealth, it is our goal to do mass building seizures on an international scale, which will absolutely cripple the regime, and they'll have no choice but to give us the redress we are seeking.
Wow, that's extremely powerful. Now, if I had one thing I'd like to manifest and visualize, it's definitely that.
And I still can't get this Hangout thing working, so you can just see me old desktop, I guess, for a while. It's probably the best way. Oh, forgot about that.
There we go. Working?
You all right?
Yeah, that girl was good looking. Simone, hello.
So, what do you reckon to the Magna Carta? Do you know anything about it?
No, there's a bit more explained in your next clip, isn't there? I guess, but
yeah, a little bit more.
But no, I don't really know much about it. I think that a lot of this stuff is probably like technically true, but it's like, what are you going to do about it?
Oh, no, that's the thing. They always, that's the thing with all these things, I think. There seem to be a lot of just total fantasy going on there, really. I mean,
the whole, he came back, was it Justin Trudeau she was saying?
Yeah, he came back to... Yeah, that seems somewhat unlikely. And I know the seizing of the town hall is basically, it's about 8 people turn up at a council meeting. They make a bit of a fuss for 10 minutes. You can find it online if you search for it. I was going to put it in the show, but it's so boring, I couldn't be bothered. And they make a fuss for about 10 minutes. Then the meeting continues. Then everyone goes home and they hang around. And then they go home quote, under duress because they don't want to piss the caretaker off. So that was the seizing. It lasts, about 2 hours. But they've still seized it,
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Curved? You guys have your fair share of these sovereign citizen fellows, right?
I thought Magna Carta was a song written by Kid Charlemagne, so I'd be out of the loop on this.
Well, this clause or Article 61, it did actually exist in the 1215 version of the Magna Carta, but was deemed to be unfair because it was a clause which basically said, I can't remember, the king had to do as he was told and the barons wouldn't stand down their armies until he did, or something like that. So it's basically an agreement made at the point of a sword, and this particular clause was deemed to be unjust by the Pope, and so was dropped from subsequent versions. However, this thing about the barons invoking it in 2001 is absolutely true. So, shall we have a quick look at this baron? Did you have anything, Chemo, or should we have a quick look at Lord Craigmile first?
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, okay. So you probably heard mentioned in that clip, or you may remember, that they write this oath and they send it to this one of these barons who is Lord Craigmile. And here is an interview with Lord Craigmile, which I guess I need to...
I wasn't sure what I was doing in when that oath was presented. It was presented to me as something which might add a little bit of pressure, possibly within the media, give a bit of attention to what these four barons had already signed. So I thought there was no harm in that. I was supportive of the whole idea and supportive of the idea of the separation of Britain from concentrated power in another country, and I am greatly enamoured of the Magna Carta and the Charter of Liberties that came before it, and I think we must hold on to our ancient liberties. But I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a historian, and I didn't have a view then, and I don't have a view now about what might be a useful way forward.
But you're receiving lots of Article 61 oaths, aren't you, at the
Maybe
moment?
as a result of giving my support at that time, I'm receiving lots of oaths from people. I haven't kept count. It's over several years, probably tens of thousands by now.
Wow.
And they mostly come to my home, which is in the Hebrides. And the reason they come there and they've been rejected by other barons is that my home is over the water. And the post office over the water does what is necessary to receive mail. So it's not me that's signing for them. When I go home, I find a pile of letters on the kitchen table which have this big yellow badge saying they have to be signed for, and I don't know who signed for them. Somebody who wandered into the shop at the time the mailboat came in, probably. So I can't say that I'm receiving them personally. I don't mind them coming, but I have to say that what upsets me slightly is a lot of these letters have personal testimonies within them, and I can't possibly open them all. I sometimes open them. I've answered one or two at random, but I can't open them all. And these are good stories of people who feel that they're not being heard, and they want to be heard. And I'm not the person to hear them, because I'm getting thousands of these things. I can't.
So,
can't deal
as
with
I
them.
understand it, then we should hold on to our own Article 61 oaths and not send them to you anymore.
Well, Caroline, if you can come up with a way of getting these Article 61 oaths, and also from people who've already sent them to me, because I haven't kept them all, and gather them into one place, it would be much more useful than them sitting on my kitchen table until they get disposed of. If you can gather those names into one place, you'll have a body of...
An army.
An army. You'll have an army.
Have you got anything to say to the people?
Well, I'm probably not the person to give advice on the Magna Carta, on Article 61. I only knew about Article 61 when it was flagged to me in the House of Lords. I didn't do any research at the time. I trusted the people who were putting it to me.
Yeah.
I gave them my support. If there's anything I can do, I will, but I'm not sure that I'm being given some useful role here.
And there we have it. That was Lord Craigmile. So these things aren't even being really signed for by him. The post office are just dealing with them.
Is the signing for them important? Sorry, did I miss that?
Well, otherwise, they're just... I mean, because the idea is of this... What they're doing is they're saying, I'm not giving my allegiance to the Queen anymore. I'm giving it to these barons who invoked this Article 61 from the Magna Carta, which they did. It was in response to the Treaty of Nice, which was part of our, European agreements. So it was something like that they were objecting to. So they invoked this article, and the idea is that since they've invoked this article, all laws are now null and void. It's all government's over because of this. So that's the idea.
Right, but he didn't just say he wanted to put a bit of pressure on the media and everyone.
At the start, he was talking about why they did it in the first place, which was over this European issue, you see. But that was obvious. That was in 2001, so it's nearly 20 years ago. But since they did that, then people have. It was a publicity stunt, and people have, jumped on the bandwagon of that publicity stunt and gone, "Aha, we can do this. We can." And it won't be a publicity stunt. It will be for real,
It's interesting. A lot of people are sort of getting into these ideas in one way or another, sort of one variation or another. And it is interesting with the 2001, because I don't know if you've heard you might have to feature this next week, about the new King of England, King John III. Have you heard about this?
No, I've not heard this.
Australian guy. So some guy, I mean, it's silly when you watch it. He's just on a hangout telling everyone, they're refurbishing Buckingham Palace. And Buckingham Palace is all boarded up. It is very old right now. Because it's never been boarded up.
Not really. It's a very old building.
There's rumours the Queen's never really going to return because she's going to pass the throne. There's all kinds of stuff going on, but there's this King John III. It's quite a lot of people are really into it now, and they're saying that in 2001 this all started, and they were going to redistribute the money, and then they used the 9/11 to destroy all the documents or something. Do you know what I mean? Before they did it, so it's interesting when you hear about all this stuff happening in 2001.
Sounds like one for you, Chemo. What do you reckon? You heard anything about this new king?
No, I haven't actually. No.
Have you not, Kima? You will really enjoy this.
This is a conspiracy you don't know about. What's going on here? It's another reality shift.
I haven't come across it just yet, as of yet. I'm sure I will do in time.
You have now.
It is interesting because there is, as I was looking that one up, I found a documentary from, I think it was 2003. That Tony Robinson, if you remember him, had done for the BBC, and that had again he'd found that the royal family are most likely are illegitimate, our royal family, going back generations, because it's so to do with Edward being an illegitimate child, and it's a lot of evidence been uncovered that he was illegitimate, and it should have gone another way. And they traced, so he did it was for the show. He did, he traced where it should have gone, and found this family in Australia again, which is where this King John III is from, I think.
Right.
So then back to Australia, and it's just this guy, and they were like, "Did you know you're the rightful King of England?"
Wow.
It's just like, I remember seeing it on TV as well, years ago, a long time ago. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic as well about that.
Lewis has joined us. Welcome, Lewis.
Good afternoon. In these troubling times, I hope we're finding some humor here.
Yeah.
We've got Spurs.
We've got Chemo here, so we should be all right.
Yeah.
I knew you'd be pleased.
Yeah, I saw the clip that we just watched, and as I pour a big fucking glass of wine, why are they so confident this will work? Like, without him, it's not like, what do they think? The government's just going to be like, all right, you got us.
I know. I don't get it. That's what I don't get. I mean, particularly the English woman. She seemed totally naive about it.
Yeah,
you know, talking
they
about
think they're just gonna walk in and say, look right here, look at what I wrote down. All right, give me the keys to the city.
Right. I've sent a letter off somewhere. Nobody's seen it or signed for it. It ended up in a bin off an island in Scotland. But that now means I don't have to have a TV license or a driving license. Or
Anthony
insurance.
will be so
for my car.
pleased.
So yeah, it's odd that they're, you know, I guess it's one of these things. These things are cyclic, I think. You know, they sort of keep rearing their ugly heads, don't they? These ideas.
Yeah. They make their rounds, and now here we are making it popular.
Right, yeah. And this isn't free man. They very, very clear to distinguish themselves from free man on the land people. These are sovereign citizens, and that's a higher rank.
It's way better, isn't it?
Yeah, way better. Way better.
Way
better. All right, I've got one more of these if you want to have a look. This is a guy trying it in court. How about that?
This is so old, Jim. This is like 10, 12 years old, isn't it?
Why, have you seen this? Have you seen this before?
I have, yeah.
This is the first free man on the land thing I ever saw.
Yeah, right, I've never seen this. I have never seen this. Audience, I apologize. Enjoy this nostalgic trip to some, you know, your first ever thingy, free man thingy. Have a look. Where's it?
Did you apply for the public defender?
What use have I for a voice of ruin? They can only speak fictitious legalese to you. I speak natural living man's English to you. It's called common English. That's the only thing that I work in.
That's fine.
There will be no legalese used here.
Well, you were charged on the 31st of August of 2013 with obstructing a police officer in violation of 457302. You were also charged on the same date with resisting arrest in violation of 457301 of the Montana Code.
Those men were charged by me right back by staging an overthrow of the Constitution of 1789, an overthrow of the Bill of Rights, an overthrow of my rights to forage for food as a natural living person who was in Hungary. I was searching for something to put in my stomach, as I am recognized to be allowed to do by universal law, has nothing to do with your corporate fiction. They violated everything, and furthermore, for your knowledge, they violated Judge Holly Brown's Title 26 United States Code ruling, which I went before her and prevailed on 21st March 2011. EPO 9-58A is the case number wherein she evidenced that I am not a taxpayer because I am not a federal citizen. Federal law trumps state law at every turn. I have 9 judge rulings to that end, and that trumps state law. I am not registered crap. I am the living man, and I have the right to forage for food when I'm hungry.
All right. But you're here on different charges.
That
this
is
not
what
Holly
stands.
Brown's courtroom.
Ma'am, you can argue this all day long. You're operating on corporate fiction.
I'm telling you, you're here on some charges which were filed in 3 Forks.
I do not
Number
understand
one,
those charges.
Number one, you keep interrupting me, and I'm going to charge you with contempt, and you'll go to
All
jail.
contempt of court is spelled C-O-double-N. I know about conning. That's navigation.
Sir,
Contempt is the storm.
I said, be
Don't
quiet
touch me.
until I get
Don't
through
touch
reading
me.
this
You ain't
to
a god. Don't you touch me. I am the living man protected by universal law.
You keep
stand
talking,
down.
and you're going to be charged with contempt, and you're going to go to jail.
You have already contempted this place.
No, I told
by
you
the
I
fraud
would if
you're
you
trying
didn't
to
quit
get done
talking.
here. These are the living witnesses to what you're trying to do.
Very
You
good.
are trying to create a fictitious, fraudulent action You are trying to bilk the Federal Reserve by securitizing in all caps commercialized name and notifying them that they are standing in debt now. If you touch me, you will violate natural law. Do not come near me. I am protected by the land. Do not tell me to shut up. I am the living natural man, and my voice will be heard. That is the Jolly Roger. That thing you call the American flag with the gold fringe around it is the Jolly Roger, and you are acting as one of his privateers.
Okay, you're here on charge of arrest.
I'm here by special visitation.
Right. And
I've never let you get away with this. You bet I'm here.
To each charge could be up to a $500 fine, up to 6 months in jail.
I do not understand any charges. I only understand universal law and the right to live.
Well, you
to
pled
live
not
at peace
guilty.
and to live as I need to.
You pled not guilty in this.
I never plead. Animals plead. Sound like bah, oink oink.
I have a paper with your signature on it, sir.
It says prime evidence standing right through it. You bring forward all natural forms of evidence that I'm not prime evidence. I am the living soil. The dirt, the water, and the air has its own voice, does it not? It all supports forms of life, does it not? I am a part of that life. I am not your corporate fiction.
Sir?
Do not danger me.
You're here today on an omnibus hearing. You've already pled not guilty.
I am here by special visitation to see to it that you do not tainter a living man's name.
Are you prepared
That's
to
why
tell
I'm
the
here.
court if you wish to go to trial on this matter?
This is a trial. Tell me it's
this
not.
isn't a trial.
Here's my
This
jury
is an
of my
omnibus
peers.
hearing, sir.
You cannot produce a jury of my peers because all juries are selected from a pool of registered voters, and the instant a person registers to vote, their natural ability as a peer to comprehend natural law has been dissolved and turned into fiction. There cannot be raised a jury of my peers. It cannot be done.
Excuse me for just a moment.
No way. Get back here and finish this. Hey, get back here and finish this. The judge has left the courtroom. There you go.
You won.
Yeah.
There is nobody in this courtroom. The judge has walked out.
The judge has walked out.
I
Everybody up
said
and
no
out.
excuse.
Everybody up and out.
I'm not letting you
Up and out.
off.
Up and out. Up and out. Follow the man.
Case
dismissed.
What's that? Great to see history there.
Thank you.
I've seen it before.
She abandoned the court.
Don't hang around. Let's go. Get out of here. Let's go. Don't dally. Let's go.
Abandon the court.
Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. I don't know. Come on. Where's the driver?
And that man also holds the world record for having the deepest voice in North America, I think.
Wow. Well, I really would like to know what happened after that. I've never bothered to look into it to see what happened. See if they've, charged him more, tried to do something. But the charges they had against him were such crap. They're not worth pursuing, and there is a very legitimate case to be made that those charges shouldn't even exist in the first place.
Yeah. I think, though, as far as his legal strategy goes, what it seemed to be was just be a big enough pain in the arse that the court gets adjourned, and then you run away.
Yeah.
Because he, you know what I mean? He was very confident in the court, but he wasn't so confident when on the decision when he was stood by the car. He's going, quick, I don't know, quick, where's the driver? So, yeah, that's the bit that struck me the most, was a sort of total change from in the court to standing by the car.
No, because he can't believe what's happened. He knows it's the law, he knows it's right, but whether it actually happens is another thing, isn't it? So I think he was surprised, to see that he actually got through it all, and the judge walked out. That was amazing.
But I don't think all she did was adjourn it, I think, didn't she? I don't think he...
No, she abandoned ship.
I don't think that's how it works.
So I don't know, but
what was that all about? Him saying the Jolly Roger? I remember that years ago. That the American
I don't know.
flags the
I guess he's. You know, they do all this stuff about it's a corporate entity and all that stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're a bit boring these days.
No, that was big back in the day. A lot of people like that because it did kind of make the judge leave and then he ran off. So.
I think sometimes it probably does work with some of these, you know, petty things like, I don't know, TV licenses or whatever the US equivalent of that is in terms of petty things that you could end up in court for. Because I think that they don't succeed legally with in that sense. I think they just maybe frustrate the court into, you know, to the point where it doesn't get dealt with, you know.
Right. She seemed a little bit flustered, like she didn't really know what to do in that situation. I think a simple option for her would have just been to hold him in contempt and then move on.
Right.
Yeah, but that's it. What can she do? Can he just keep going to court, getting arrested, go to court? That would be.
But if you're held in contempt, they arrest you on the spot and stick you in jail. And usually, well, it depends, but sometimes they'll let you apologise and the judge will let you out. But sometimes they make you stay in there. A guy in the UK who was on a jury fell asleep while he was on the jury and got 30 days for that, for contempt.
Right.
Wow.
I know.
30 days.
I know. I think that's pretty mean of the judge, that, you know. I
do too. And it's just frustrating with this particular guy because, you know, all he did was resist arrest and what was the other thing? Some other bullshit charge.
Right.
Resisting arrest is such crap. Like unless it's associated with like other legitimate charges, it's such a dumb charge.
Yeah.
Let's see but both of them were dumb. So the only thing the court could do is hold him in contempt. And even then, like, what are they going to get out of this guy? Nothing. Right? Like, they're thinking about it like, okay, he'll probably get a public defender later on, and the public defender will get this thrown out because it is bullshit, and then he'll go on his way. And I think it's better that it ended this way because now what's likely to happen is he's not going to have to come back there, and he's just going to get on with his life, and he's not really going to be hurting anyone. So I think that's fine.
Right.
I think this guy's got a history of being in and out of court. This is not a one-time deal with this jackass.
Yeah, it didn't sound like... Well, he seemed quite proud of his previous forays, I think.
This guy's well-known. He's like a poster boy of the retards on the land movement.
Right. I wonder how I've managed to never come across him. I guess I haven't been into this too much.
He's the natural living man, Jim. How do you know?
Right, yeah. Yeah, he definitely was the natural living man. So what do you reckon, Chemo? Are you a sovereign citizen? Do you think this is worth pursuing, this sort of thing?
You've got to know the law. Otherwise, obviously, they're going to twist you in knots, but this guy definitely knew what he was talking about. So, yeah, I mean, if I definitely, if I knew, you know, the lingo there, I would definitely give it a bash. Yeah, definitely. Why not?
Fair enough. Do you end up in court very often?
No. No, not in, well, unless, can we get into, because they've got this thing in America where they're going to be a lot of court cases over what's been happening.
What?
Yes.
You mean sealed indictments?
Oh, sealed indictments. I thought that's where he might be going.
Oh. Are you going to show that, or that not?
We've got no Q-tardery this week, I'm afraid.
I assumed he was going to be talking about the rioters.
Yeah. Is that what
I mean, again, we're on a stage, aren't we? It's a big stage, and there's so many. Let me I can get this thing up that finds makes the whole thing very, very suspicious.
I can't really share a screen. Well, I guess I
No,
can.
no, it's not a screen. I'm going to read it out.
Oh, okay.
1 second. Let me just get this up. So there were just a few anomalies, like why does one photo from behind the man on the road is not handcuffed, and the video in front show he's handcuffed? Then it's got, why is the cop car in the restaurant surveillance video different than the one Floyd was lying behind? Different car numbers. Why were the cops in the surveillance footage that arrested him different than the police involved in the actual incident? Then it's got, why does the video show the diesel fuel price at 99 instead of the regular price in the area of $2.49? And then it's got another one. Why does the police car have non-municipal license plates with police on it?
Municipal.
Municipal. Municipal. Okay. Why does Derek have a completely different badge on top of a second police badge matching his partners if they work for the same precinct? I could go on. There's loads of these.
Right. Okay.
I'm sure we'll have fun discovering how almost every single one of them are not true.
Yeah.
It says, there's a good one in number 9. Is there any cop dumb enough to continue kneeling on someone's neck for 8 minutes when surrounded by people and being video recorded?
Well,
I mean, he was like almost posing for the camera. Though.
I know, but that's the thing, isn't it? I think that's what was going on. It was an egotistical copper being, doing what egotistical coppers do, which is people are telling me not to do something, so I'm going to bloody well go ahead and do it.
Yeah, but why? And another one is, why did the main cop have one hand in his pocket?
I don't think it's at one point it may have been in his pocket, but I think he just has a black glove on, and so it looks like it, but he's leaning on his knee.
Okay.
Yeah. Whether it's in his pocket or not isn't actually important. He was leaning on his knee.
I didn't know about any of this. I didn't know any of this stuff was in dispute. But why would I think that it wasn't?
Number 18. Can someone really not breathe when someone kneels on their neck, and is the victim really able to speak for considerable periods of time if they can't breathe?
I think what's come out is that he didn't actually die from that in the end, and I can't remember. Maybe you guys know more in America, so that would probably explain it. But
there was an autopsy report which is being challenged. The family would like to get a new autopsy done with none other than the same man who did Epstein's autopsy and O.J. Simpson's autopsy.
Oh my god!
Yes,
don't make this stuff up.
This man seems to have quite a record of doing extraordinarily high-profile autopsies. So the old one basically said, well, he may have had drugs in his system. He had heart problems, and the combination of that with the stress is likely why he died. Now, that's what the media has said. I haven't actually seen the report to see what the report actually says, but that's what the media has said about the report.
So, Lewis, maybe you can explain this. This is number 20. It says, why were almost all the rioters leading the destruction of the neighborhood at the beginning of the riot white and not from Minneapolis in a black neighborhood after a police killed a black man?
I'd have to see images on that. I was watching when this all started to happen. I was with another group of people on Discord who were watching these riots unfold on live streams, and a number of the people who were there were white. I wouldn't classify them as rioters. I would classify them as protests. It was once the evening came, the tear gas came out, the rioters came out, and I would say almost everybody, almost all of the white people disappeared. There were some, and I think you could easily say that they were Antifa, but you can tell an Antifa person by their black attire and their flags and their masks. There's a sort of uniform to Antifa, and their Antifa tends to instigate these riots.
I saw a weird thing though.
That guy smashing the windows.
No, I saw this video where it's a guy who's near one of these protests, and there's a guy who looks like a cop but is dressed in essentially plain clothes, but is all black like an Antifa guy. And this guy says, "What are you doing here? Who are you then?" You know, he's very suspicious of him, and he's obviously a protester or something, or he says he's a journalist, I think. And then the guy said, "Yeah, this cop guy says I'm with CNN," and the guy challenges him on it a bit, and then sort of lets him walk off because he's walking quite quickly, and he'd seen him get out of this truck. So he says, "Right, we'll go back to that truck and we'll ask them where they're from." And he goes back to the truck and he says, "Who are you guys? What are you?" And the guys are like really cagey, you know, and they both look like cops. They're in this big black vehicle. They're both dressed in black, and they won't say where they're from. And he goes, "Are you with CNN?" And the guy just won't say. And he says, "Well, your friend said you were with CNN." And he goes, "Which friend?" He says, "The guy I just saw getting out of your car." So they were obvious. I don't know what was going on there, but it looked very dodgy to me.
Yeah.
They look like cops, but they were dressed like Antifa guys.
Have you seen this weird video of there's an abandoned police car, and these Antifa kids find is an AR-15, those sort of like machine gunny things, you know, that typical one. They find one of those in the car, loaded, just been left there in an open police car. So this kid picks it up and he's holding it, and from nowhere, someone who claims to be an undercover police, but again he's dressed in normal clothes, just busts in, takes pointing a gun at him from nowhere. He looks proper badass military. You can tell he's trained, and he's got another fucking AR-15 round his shoulder, and he just runs up at the kid, pointing. The kid shits himself, grabs the gun, takes the magazine out, does all that impressive stuff with guns they do, hooks it up, and that's the clip. It's just surreal. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Wow.
Why is there an undercover cop with another? He's got like a pistol and another machine gun or whatever on the back on his back, rifle or whatever.
I mean, I'm not making any comment on what I saw because I don't really understand all the politics and mechanics of this situation. I've only got a very outsider's understanding of it. So I don't know what I saw, but that is my description of what I saw in that video. I don't know what it means, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, there was just a killing just a few weeks before with that jogger, and then those two guys just shot him. And then you've got this. I mean, look, whether they're creating a race war there in America for some reason. They want a clash of races, and they have to provoke it because actually black and white people seem to be coalescing. And that's not what the people, obviously, who want to provoke that want. And so they have to do things like this to get the people rioting, as we've seen. So is that still happening now, the riots? Is that still going on, or has the military stopped this?
I bet it's still going on. I haven't looked at it in a few days, but or not a few, since yesterday. But I would imagine it's still going on. It was raging before. And I think they're definitely. I don't think it's a conscious push to create racial tension, but it sells, and the media is motivated by the number of people that watch the stories, and so it's in their interest to tell the most outrageous stories they can.
Right?
Is there racial tension now? Is anything racist happening there, or not yet, or no, or yes, or how's it going?
Oh well, there's always racist stuff happening, but it's about, is it in the public conscious? And right now, because of these riots, yeah, it's in the public conscious.
Okay. Shall we move on to something a little bit happier?
Yeah.
We will touch on this again later on, but hopefully in a more positive way. So, for the reasonable people who live on this side of the fence, yesterday was a day of awesomeness as SpaceX launched humans into space for the first time, marking the return of manned spaceflight to the free world, where it belongs. Across the world, groups of excited patriots gathered together to cheer on live coverage of this event. Let's take a look.
Got his storm here again.
Oh, wrong one.
Audio.
Hang on.
Oh, what one is this one then?
Wrong one. I've gone one too far. Let me do this one. It's said that I've been neglecting the flatties on my little show. So here are several sliced, diced, and simmered to a flavourful reduction. Enjoy.
Nice, easy target. So if the cops never say anything, I've already right now sweared my innocence. Just referring to this video. If it ever burns down, it already sells innocent. Now, there's a primary school here. And secondary school just over there. Soccer field's here, a playground just over there. And this is what's going on right here. These kids, trust me, once they start getting, nosebleeds, nausea, you can't concentrate, headaches, ringing in the ears, heart palpitations, and they start developing cancers, It wasn't the fucking coronavirus, was it? So, soon enough, when the schools reopen, if they ever fucking do, what I'm going to do, another bloke over there working, won't worry about him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be going to the schools and I'm going to be making complaints and tell them what's going on here. Actually, this bloke right here, Mike, have you got? How's it going, mate? Hey, mate. Hey, mate. Are you people responsible for putting a 5G cell phone dangerous radiation tower right next to a fucking playground, right next to soccer fields, right next to 2 schools, which is going to impact some kids' health dramatically, as well as all these houses right here? Are you responsible? I wasn't responsible, no. That's right. I'm just saying this is wholly dangerous. It's never been tested. It's never been tested safety. All the independent researchers have came back worldwide and said there's a carcinogenic human life 5G, and they're locking us down to this fake coronavirus bullshit. While they're putting all this around us, and that's suspect as fuck. Do you reckon? Yeah, a little bit. Have a good one, mate.
These little fox. Where's this flat? Where's this flat? Elf see-through. Elf see-through. Scoff that would see.
Here we are in Sunset Beach, California. We're talking about a model here, Memorial Day, of what's the North Star Polaris, and this is a perfect model of the star Polaris. Just to let you know that all the stars that are on this firmament are fakes, and they're all orbiting around the magnetic North Pole. Or it could be like a disco ball, just rotating, and because all the stars are fixed, well, all the reflection of all these little glasses, mirrors, are actually sending a reflection that is always going to be fixed. So that's the nature of our world. We live under a dome firmament with the beautiful Polaris stationary star at the magnetic North Pole of our beautiful stationary flat Earth, and we live actually, in reality, scientifically speaking, our beautiful stationary flat Earth under the dome is a dance floor with the disco ball in the center. So go celebrate with everybody, bring him over to the beach, here Sunset Beach. Nobody's wearing that mark of the beast, that stupid mask that makes you look like a beast. You don't have to wear that. Throw that thing away, and you were designed to breathe, to enjoy this beautiful oxygen, and to have your heart take that oxygen first and deliver it all over your beautiful body, the temple of your spirit. You be good to yourself and enjoy this beautiful Memorial Day. I love you, brothers and sisters. You take care. Bye-bye.
Another one? On the road, man. It's just so much shit I want to speak about, bro, that I just been holding inside me, bro, that I just need to let this shit out, bro. Real shit. Like, bro, right now, I real life, I'm about to just do that shit. Fuck it, I don't care. I'm about to take I'm about to walk barefoot right here on nature. I don't give a fuck, bro. Listen, the Earth is flat. The Earth is flat. The Earth is flat. Don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. That should be the video right there. Just that. The Earth is flat. Don't fucking argue with me. Ooh. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? My bad. Listen. The Earth is flat, bro. Do your research. That's the video. Bye. I love y'all. Peace.
And that was Scotty Storm was the first one. ZeuS Beelzebub was the backwards speaking guy. Earth is seriously flat was the disco ball guy, and some other wasted guy at some festival somewhere. I don't know his name.
We just call him Bro. Bro.
Renee actually made me feel invigorated because he was all this beautiful oxygen.
Yeah.
Oh, it was you're beautiful. Go to the beach. Yeah, it's great. I actually kind of liked him there. Normally I don't. Normally I really hate him, but it was all right. It was all right.
I thought he was ultra creepy. I always think he's creepy. And
yeah.
I thought he was, that little bit extra creepy in that one.
He was smiling he had a.
And incorrect, hopelessly incorrect. My body is not beautiful in any way. Those days are long gone, if ever they existed.
Well, this I don't know this Beelzebub, the backwards speaking guy, but Scotty, man, at the very beginning of that, he was like, "Here, we got a nice target or a nice easy target,"
right? And then proclaims his innocence, straight away afterwards, which kind of makes it even worse. It's like
how is he determining that that's a 5G tower? Because I've seen a lot of towers like that around for a long time that are not 5G.
I think he's just decided it's a tower. I mean, it probably is, to be honest. They probably have slapped some 5G stuff on it, or will do at some point.
Right. Well, it's a nice, easy target.
But it isn't actually that widespread. When you start looking around, you find a lot of countries, they've only got sort of test setups and sort of bits and pieces here and there. Not a lot of, there's not a lot of places where there's a very wide coverage. I guess China, perhaps more than anywhere, at least in the populated areas. Any thoughts, Chemo, on your flat friends?
And keeping up the good spirits, the good work. That's what it will never go away. It will always be around. It's something that you have to be brave to actually speak out about it. So good stuff from the guys there.
Do you think you will always be around? Do you think
that's the next clip coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the torch has been lit now, and I just think it's just a matter of time before the numbers increase. But yeah, I think it will always be a thing. It will never, until actually they show that the Earth is a globe with science, with practical demonstrations.
What about when people looking closer and closer to we're going to be traveling to space soon? What about then?
Yeah, but we know that's never going to happen. We know you're not going to do that. They've said
that does happen. If it did, as a thought experiment.
Oh, if it did, yeah, no. Look, if they could, I just said, yeah, if they could show that the Earth is a globe by space travel, like you say, people going to the moon, you've got your camera on the moon, you've got people on the moon, you've got all of that. Then of course, why would people be there? There'd be no flat Earth, definitely. Yeah. But as it stands.
Well, I think that might be coming, because what I see happening, Chemo, is as this, they're just about to start this space tourism now, which kind of we'll get to next. But as SpaceX have launched humans, this sort of paves the way for them to start, selling people tickets, basically. And I think, those tickets are going to be very expensive. They won't be affordable for most people. but they will be affordable for corporations, and corporations will buy them and they will give them away as big prizes in things and stuff like that, because that will attract a lot of people if you could win a trip to space, right? So I think we will end up very quickly with just ordinary, regular, not millionaires, a bloke, you know, maybe not down your street, but a bloke down somebody's street going up into space. What about that?
No. We're looking at the end of an empire, the fall of a nation, and all this is just a distraction as the empire falls. You see, we're looking at a big reset. So yeah, again, you guys believe that obviously you're going to space or wherever it is, but no, this is just part and parcel of the distraction to keep you guys active, thinking there's a future. But no, we've known for many, we've seen through, you got to know your history, right? And every empire has fallen, and we know the reasons why. I don't want to get into those right now, but just as like this empire right now, this is about to fall. We can see the end. We can see what's happening, right? We can see...
Is it like a Tower of Babylon? We're going into space.
Something like that. Yeah, you can put it like that. But for me, this is not about the future of space. You'll be saying this until, forever, basically.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, if the civilization doesn't fall, then yeah, space travel will continue. But if it does fall, then society won't be in a position to do any space travel.
That's why it's being designed that way, because they know it's not possible. So it has to fall. It's like a big... hurrah before it falls.
Oh, that's so weak.
Okay. I dig it.
It's creative. I felt it's creative. Any thoughts, Curved, on the flatties?
I found Renee's explanation of the disco ball on the dance floor very compelling. I'm going to look further into it. Did it resonate with you, Kimo?
Yes, quite.
All right, let's do what we were gonna do, shall we?
Here it comes.
I don't need to introduce it, do I? SpaceX thing, go. Oops.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Rose 777 channel. We are here today in anticipation of the FakeX launch. We are on the front lines of forgery here, as we are aware of the mass deception that occurs in this realm.
Yeah, that should be a given. You know, these two goons you see right there on the screen to the right, they're probably sitting in some warehouse somewhere and, or pre-filmed. Who knows? But yeah, it's a given that just like the Challenger, there's no one actually aboard and no one died, no one got hurt.
Hey, by the way, you notice that these astronauts, they're not spacesuits. You notice their face shields are down, right? But those aren't pressurized suits. So what exactly are you doing there? I mean, the suits do nothing.
Do you know who created the suits? It says that they were designed by a Hollywood costume designer.
Nice.
Are we supposed to see their cheeks go back really fast, like in the G-force planes? Are their cheeks supposed to do that?
Yeah, you'd think you'd see something.
I hope we see their cheeks look funny.
They need to accelerate like 200 miles an hour every 3 or 4 seconds.
Isn't escape velocity 25,000 miles per hour too? They always say that, and they never get anywhere close to that. They don't even get close to 17,000 miles per hour.
Or 1,000 miles per hour.
Right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ignition.
And a warning to anybody out in the ocean.
Cut 1. Cut 2.
Okay.
It's a balloon. I think we're in animation already.
40 seconds into this historic
I don't believe this is real footage.
May not be at that point.
Well, they did cut. So.
Once you clear the ground, you can do anything you want.
You know what? I noticed one thing right off the bat, that the amount of thrust I see afterburn is a lot larger than I see in the past with prior launches.
Yeah, those people will be dead inside.
Oh, I was about to say, wait, yeah, but why aren't we?
How come we can't see their funny faces?
Yeah, we
Where's the camera inside?
Bravo call out. That's just the.
I hope they remembered my.
Continue to be on this.
Oh, here we go. Now we can see from inside.
Yeah, but it's not the same vantage point.
Wait a minute.
Wait, one at a time. One at a time.
Yeah, sorry about that. The guy on the right had his hands up, and with all that thrust, that shouldn't be happening.
Heading out towards the ocean. Beware if you're out there.
Note that it's already going horizontal.
I argue that's going down.
Yeah, it could be down.
See, the sky's dark. It's gonna sky's gonna start getting light again behind the rocket.
You can only see so far. They know that.
And then ignition.
I hope they remembered my sushi.
Continue to carry astronauts into orbit.
Oh, there we go.
There's the shot.
Yeah, like I said.
By the way, note the massive curve.
Yep.
On the right-hand side, even though it can't be at that altitude.
And now look at the tinfoil.
Oh my God.
There's still atmosphere because the tinfoil is moving. Go back to the shot.
Yeah, you don't have to show us. Go back.
Yeah.
I thought this was a reaction video.
Yeah, the tinfoil.
Why does it look so peaceful inside the rocket? How can he move his hands?
Yeah, exactly. And the garbage bag pulsating on the right. The silver garbage bag.
He's
inside of a Disney ride.
He's accelerating so fast that he should pass out. I mean, 0 to 200 in 3 seconds. I mean, he's accelerating 200 miles per hour every 3 seconds. Minimum.
Continuing to make their way.
Yeah, they both have their hands up too.
This has to be filmed live, by the way. It couldn't have been filmed yesterday. It's impossible.
Look, flat Earth there. Look at the Earth horizon.
Now it's flat.
Right inside the rocket.
It was curved, now flat.
Yeah.
So
explain that.
Yeah, by the way, they keep flipping back and forth. So that one's curved.
That one's curved, and the other one's flat.
Second, they
Game
flip the other
over.
one.
Game
It's flat.
over. Fake.
Yep. There it is. Look at that.
Flat.
No curve. What happened to
What
it?
the heck?
So it was curved when they were closer, but now it's flat when they're farther away.
I guess Max.
Up there, now it's curved again.
I guess Max is right when he said we live on a flat Earth and a globe at the same time.
Yeah,
What
I mean,
they
they
do
keep
is-
alternating between these two shots, and they're the same. Same, just different cameras from the same.
Can
Now,
anyone
what is the
identify
rocket, though?
that aerodynamic material, that tinfoil, that's not flapping in the wind, that's not exploding from outer space?
Reynolds wrap.
That's the stuff they make survival blankets out of.
Oh, and okay. Now, why are the fins deployed?
Here comes.
No,
the
that's the rocket that's coming back. That's the
Oh,
tank.
are they actually going to try to? They're going to try to land this?
All right, just so people that are watching realize that this is the tank, which weighs several tons, empty, and those little fins, those milk crates, are steering it. They're using those to steer it so it could land upright like a pencil on a ship that's floating in the ocean that has no people on it.
I think it's 40,000 pounds.
It
Empty.
says their speed is over 10,000 miles per hour. It's about to hit 11,000. It says.
All right, here it comes.
They are going to land in a moving target in a barge.
On a small little ship, and it's going to land right on the center.
Right.
Oh, and God forbid they point the camera up right now and show it coming in.
Can't do that, Dave.
By the way, this also goes against all avionics maintenance because you do not reuse high stress parts that have been used in airspace. You just don't.
Oh, we
come
lost
on.
the signal.
No.
No.
Yeah. It's because of the curvature of the Earth, you guys. See? Oh,
Look,
God.
it landed.
Look at that. Nice.
Magic.
Ridiculous. Magic.
What's going on?
That's not the first time that happened. It won't be the last.
It's every time.
Yep. Cuts
We
out.
didn't even see the smoke residue from that one.
Nope. That was way too fast. Way too fast. It landed. It cut out for just a second, and then you come back and it's there. Come
Well,
on.
the thing is, they should have multiple angles of the landing. So
Right.
if one goes out, they can just go to another camera. But of course, they don't have the budget for that.
No. And they couldn't put a drone up nearby where it could film it. That'd be impossible.
There was no boats anywhere near it.
No.
Nobody shot that. It was
Too
like
dangerous.
it was just technical difficulties. The booster has landed.
Oh,
look, a dinosaur. Is that a
Tiny
dinosaur?
dinosaur.
Floating dinosaur.
Did you guys look at the boots that they're wearing? Are they going like river fishing?
Yeah, I
I
was
mean,
gonna
they're
say-
going to the ISS. They're not going to the moon. Why are they wearing those boots?
Oh.
Dragon separation confirmed.
There is a great
What is
view
this?
right in
Is that the
front of you.
second stage that's dropping off?
That doesn't look real to me.
And there's that
What is it?
Come on, Rose.
I mean, it just
That's the
does it look
Gemini
real to
footage all over
anyone?
again.
space station.
And the cameras that they're using don't have enough aperture to see the bright stars without anything hindering their view.
And again, no
could do
content below.
The
We have no
atmosphere
idea
looks
what's
like
down
it's
there.
moving so fast.
What is that stuff? Are we already seeing bubbles in space?
I saw some fleck. Something just flew by.
Yeah.
Dude, look at those suits.
Yeah.
What a joke.
They are
Hollywood
the
costume
suits are
design.
fashion only. The Tesla's nice. I like the gull wing Tesla that they custom built for this.
They're not even one piece. It's like clearly like a top half and a bottom half. That's their spacesuit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joke.
And basically, if you are willing to believe in nonsense, if you're reduced to a fantasy-based reality, then you're going to be much easier to control. It works out for everyone if you're willing to believe in total BS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We believe the world that is presented to us. Plain and simple. We have since we were kids. We don't like to believe that there's lies. Why would we? I didn't for a long, long time.
And if they started teaching it 1910, whatever, 20, 30, 40, eventually they'd have to show people it. And that was the whole point of the moon landing, was to show people the ball Earth so that they could all accept it. And it was on TV. So how could you not believe it? It was live, so-called live. Of course, it was just somebody filming off a CRT monitor. But then you've got the whole world who are bought into it. They believe everything that's on the TV. How do I know it was true? Because I saw it on TV.
At this point, people believing in the space station, it's just willful ignorance.
Yeah.
It's just willful ignorance. So people just want to believe that it's real. They don't have the ability, as James True says, that they clip that information is beyond their ability to see.
Well, what can I say? What a bunch of dickheads, really.
It had one of those irritating moments. I don't know if Spurs agree with what he would think about this, but you know when they're talking about the camera, obviously, oh, it's curved, oh, it's flat.
Right.
This one wasn't flat; it looked concave to me. But they know very well how cameras work because that's one of their arguments. Isn't
Right.
it?
I mean, it's very obvious. The horizon was at different distances from the center of the lens in each camera, so different amounts of barrel distortion. I mean, very, very simple to understand, but. And all that stuff about spacesuits, I mean, that was just idiotic. I mean, there's a certain irony, isn't there, watching a bloke sitting in his living room in the middle of summer wearing a baseball hat and saying those spacesuits don't do anything. You know? I mean... So,
Well, why would they be pressurized?
I know, they just didn't seem to get the idea that you should, you know, I don't know whether they think they should go to space naked or... You know, it's a flight suit. You know, you've got to wear something. I thought, what do you think to them as a fashion statement? I thought they were pretty cool, although the boots did look a bit. I don't know whether I like the boots.
Isn't their main purpose kind of like flame retardancy, like fire?
I guess so, yeah.
I would think that would be their first priority.
Okay. I was unaware of what the suit's purpose actually was, so.
It's just a flight suit, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. The flat earthers all looked so happy to just be hanging out.
Right.
Just sharing with each other what they thought. I mean.
I thought there's a moment, you know, where it lands and it cuts out, which I have to say is bloody annoying when that happens every time.
Yes,
but,
it was.
But you could see the joy on Karen B's face after that had happened. There was a joy that, oh, at least there's something that we can pick on, you know, something we can have a go at that's real, you know.
Yeah, I think she was happy to be able to contribute to the ridicule with her friends. I think that's what it was about. But they don't. Oh, I'm sorry. I started thinking and talking and lost my train of thought.
No worries, it happens. Any thoughts, Chemo? I bet you've got a lot of thoughts on this.
Well, I mean, Jaron, he took the words out of my mouth. I mean, the same line of thoughts is that the whole thing is just to prove, or just to show you on a globe, because, you know, the maths, the numbers, the measurements are not there, simply not there. So as long as they can keep flying into this region and showing this curved ball for you guys, you say, look, there's your ball. And all they're doing is just repeating what they've done with the moon landings. It's like they don't need to go to the moon. They just need to show the ball now. You see?
All right, let me ask you this. In your mind, when was the globe introduced?
I think they've always had the idea of coming up with an idea of where we live. You know, the ball's been put around for a long time. It's been ridiculed, the ball.
Yeah, but how long? How long? That's my question, really. Because Jaron had a stab there. You know, he said 1910, 1920 to 1930. And David Weiss thinks it's in the 1930s. Because I've heard him say it. So when do you think we went from flat to globe?
Well, like I say again, it depends whether you're talking worldwide acceptance. I think in different regions, in Asia, maybe pockets.
What about here in the West, in Western Europe? In
fully
the
accepted. You know, like I said, fully accepted when the education system came out, which would have been the late 1800s, early 1900s. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. So you go for the same sort of time. So why then? This is what I don't get when you guys say this stuff. You know, because 200 proofs, right, comes from almost exclusively from Rowbotham and Carpenter, who were famous. Rowbotham in particular was famous throughout the UK and somewhat known throughout the world, but very famous in the UK for being a flat earther. And he did this in the 1850s and 60s. So,
yeah, like I say, because this is what I think would have happened. In those days, you would have had travelers passing information on and people hearing bits of information and then taking those bits of information, which they've heard from Europe, from the East, and said, yeah, and pushed it forward while everyone else had a different, may have had a different idea. So that's where these things come from.
I think you may be missing my point, because my point is that Rowbotham was famous for being a flat earther. So,
where did he get the idea from?
How did he get famous for being a flat earther if at that time everyone else was a flat earther?
No, I don't think anybody knew. I don't think it was like that. I think it was him against the establishment.
Right, so everyone else wasn't a flat earther in 1850, but you've just told me they didn't introduce the globe until the late 1800s. So
yeah, but they weren't any earther, were they? They would have read the Bible.
Any earther.
Yeah, they would have read the Bible and said it was the biblical cosmology, right?
Well, if that was the case, they would just have agreed with Rowbotham, and he would have just been the same as everyone else, and he wouldn't have been famous.
Yeah, but how do we know people didn't agree with Rowbotham? All we see is the media.
Because he's famous for holding a position which no one agreed with.
No, he's not. The media highlighted somebody who was going against the establishment. The establishment, not the people. The establishment.
Yeah, but the point he's making is that the establishment back then were pushing the globe then, do you know what I mean? So it wasn't even back to the Rowbotham. It couldn't have been everyone was a globe. Everyone was in flat.
Because he got famous for being flat. I won that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think he was famous for that reason. I think there were probably other flat earthers. But I just think because he was probably notable.
Kimo, you can read the Victorian newspapers. And the strangest thing is about those Victorian newspapers is the people write letters in about Rowbotham. And the things those people say, they are exactly the same as the things that we say today. Exactly the same arguments, the same, I just can't believe these people think this, they must be kidding. You know, all the same stuff that we say, they said. Bear that in mind, folks. We've got nowhere in 150 years.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it was a big thing. I think it was just a small group of rich people who wanted this idea, because they would have been anti-religion, and anything religious or spiritual, whatever you want to call it, they would have wanted the opposite. So I think that's where it comes from. So it would have been around for a long time, globe, only because it's the opposite of the religious cosmology.
You do talk such a bollocks, Chemo, but I do like to hear you talk.
There must be so many books if you actually just did a bit of research that are older than that date and reference the globe and just in one way or another.
There is. It goes. This Roman. The Romans had a globus, I think, which was like a. The queen, as part of the crown jewels, doesn't she? She has an orb and scepter, and the orb is said to represent the monarch holding the world in their hands. And that. I mean, I think that particular crown jewel isn't.
But are you saying
thousands of years
heliocentric
old,
or globe? Because there was the geocentric. So, are you saying like a globe, as in they knew the size because they kept changing the distance of the, this was just a few people. You're acting like everybody thought the Earth was a globe. That didn't happen, did it?
I think sometimes because if you think about it, a lot more people were traveling by sea and navigating. So I think in some ways, a lot more people really understood some of the arguments that you guys don't get sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
I can talk about Victorian times, and I can tell you, like I say, the response to flat earthers in the 1860s was exactly the same as it was in the 2000 and
No, I think this is media hype.
It's there in the papers for all
Mandela
to see,
effect.
and it's not editorials written in the newspaper. It's letters from ordinary people writing in saying, "I just can't believe this shit."
Yeah, but they were just paid globe shit.
They took what because there was no television and all those things back then. They took what you read for gospel back then, and that's where "don't believe what you read" came from those days, because the media were just writing anything and everything. You see, just like they do on television now. Look at the same now. Today we get the same thing right now with that the rioting. It's all a hoax. The media is a complete lie. Right, we can see right now. I've just given you a list of complete. And in 20 years, 100, they'll be saying, "Oh, did you see that rioting? It was all a real riot." We'll be like, "No, we saw fake protesters, we saw fake policemen. There were security guards working in nightclubs with the guy that they killed."
No,
I think you're wrong, because
there are real people who got their heads actually stomped in.
No, we don't know that.
Yes, you do. It's on camera.
And let's not be a vehicle for this, please.
Oh yeah, but the point is anyway is that the media.
No, let Lewis say his piece. Go on. Go ahead, Lewis.
No, I already did.
Okay.
I already did.
I thought
he can look up. Yeah.
Let that be the last word on it. Then.
Yeah, I was just simply saying that you're saying Robotham was this, that, and the other, and I'm saying, well, because when I look at these stories, it's the media trying to persuade public opinion. You see?
But how is it if you just look at a Victorian newspaper and see a tirade of letters, hundreds of thousands of letters from all over every city and town in the UK? This was a time as well. I'll point out. Sorry to bore you, audience. I'm rambling a bit, but it's a kind of a subject that interests me. But this is a time. These people were living through a technological revolution, right? At this time, so the people, working class people, had a real hunger for learning and for science. And so they would go to these lectures, and ordinary people knew about astronomy because they would hold these lectures. They set up all over the UK what they call mechanics institutes were set up. And mechanics back then were basically engineers and anyone who'd got some sort of skill or education was considered a mechanic. And they set up these mechanics institutes, and there would be these lecturers that would travel to these places and do these astronomy lectures and lectures on inventions and electricity and things like that. And the ordinary people were exposed to this stuff, so a lot of them knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when it comes to things like that, they have to sway public opinion, and that's all the media is there for, is to sway what you think, how you think, and nothing has changed. They've done it back then, they've done it right now.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. I've got a short introduction to this one. What can I say? Dickhead goes shopping. Enjoy.
All right, let's check out the zombies in the Whole Foods.
Can I get you an apartment?
Huh?
Can I
Yeah.
get you an apartment?
Yep.
What size you want?
This is good, bro. You don't gotta wash nothing for me, bro. Fucking zombies. Let's see if anybody says anything. That's the only thing I want. I want a conversation with someone. Oh, watch that virus.
This is what you do.
Zombies, zombies. Zombies out here. Nobody says anything, huh? Talk to me.
Yeah. Two things. We'd ask that you go to the front. We have some extra masks.
I'm not wearing a mask.
Okay.
Okay.
And your reasoning is?
Don't worry about my reasoning. I know my rights.
Stand back. We also have
Stand back from what?
From me.
Huh? Why?
From me.
Why?
Because I don't want you to get too close.
Why? Why?
Because of the social distancing.
What social distancing? What is that? What are you afraid of?
Sir.
Tell me, what are you afraid of?
Excuse me.
Don't talk to me. Get out of here, bro. I know my rights. What are you gonna do? You gonna do something? You know what this is? It's a book of rights, bro. I'll give you a lesson. You wanna talk? You wanna say something? Get out of here, bro. You had time to say something. Call the manager. I like your beard. There's a corona on it. Look, wipe it. Wipe the corona off your beard.
How are you?
Good, yourself? I like this. Corona can't get through that, right?
No.
That's awesome.
Corona's not getting me.
Look at this, yeah. No corona. Corona can't get through that. That's awesome. So many smart people around, right? Aren't you proud to live in this society? Yeah. All right? That's awesome, dude. Yep. There's the guy. He's calling the security. This guy's calling the security. Look at him. He's playing CIA. Stupid motherfuckers. Zombieland. The guy's still on the phone. He's probably talking to Fauci or something. All right, take care. Take care, dude. You're gonna work for CIA one day? Are you? Say something. You wanted to tell me something. You got nothing to say, right? You got nothing to say, right? Keep wearing your mask, you dumb fuck. All right. That's how you go to store without a mask.
Well, I did warn you, didn't I? Anyway, who can tell me which flatty that was?
I have no idea.
That was Flat Earth Data.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
That's horrible, isn't he? He's getting more angry.
I do hate this, let's go and find a supermarket where I can get some confrontation with someone idea, Stop doing that, flatties. That's silly.
The guy handled it well, though, didn't he? He felt really bad for it. He was just like, have a nice day, sir.
Right, yeah.
Well, that's the nature of activism, right? We're always active. Anytime we see injustice, we will be there.
But you wouldn't behave like that, Spurs.
No, you wouldn't do that, Chemo, would you? Come on.
No, I'm just saying that when we see injustice, we have to be activated. So, yes.
Well, it's not injustice in this situation, so it's not really It's not warranted. Now, if the government was saying you have to wear a mask, or if the store was saying if you don't wear a mask, we won't sell you anything, and all of the other stores were saying that too, then that would be injustice. But that's not the situation he's in. Almost none of us are in that situation.
Right. These people are going out to find these stores where they're likely to be confronted. They're not shopping where they normally shop. They're just not. You know, we saw it with Fokker last week. We ended up in some weird Oriental food market to buy a loaf of bread that he didn't really need, you know?
Yeah, it's defiance. They're showing that this government, that they don't agree with the laws and the advice, I should say, that is given. So yeah,
I think he's just being a pain in the arse to some poor sod who's got a job to do. You know what I mean? He's just trying to get through his day at work. You know what I mean? And you're there. I got book of rights.
Exercising his rights.
What do you think he was showing him there? Do you think he was just holding up a little Bible?
I don't know. He said a book of rights. Is there like a book of rights in like a little red book in America?
There might be a little bookletized constitution somewhere. I don't know.
I guess there probably is. Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? I might get one of those so I can wave it around at people and, you know.
Yeah, get the wrong country and then use it in yours.
What kind of thing would cause you guys to do something like this? Would you never ever
like that?
Be active? Yeah.
Like that? No, nothing.
No.
I go to the store. I go to the store all the time, and I don't wear a mask. And no one talks to me. No one talks to me.
I'm saying, what would cause you to be active as an activist? Anything in life that the government?
I already answered that. I said if the government was mandating everyone wear a mask, and if all of the stores were each making a decision that everyone had to wear a mask or they couldn't shop there. If that happened, that would basically constitute the same thing as the government telling everybody they have to.
Right.
I was involved in CND when I was a teenager, but I wouldn't say I really did any activism. But I did go to meetings and things like that, and I never went to any protests. We did do a thing at college once, but not really, you know. So, but yeah, CND was a bit of a big deal to me back then in the when would it have been? The very late 70s, early 80s.
Great, cool.
Which was the campaign for nuclear disarmament. Sorry, I probably should have said that.
What would make you be an activist, Spurs? Like go out?
He is one already. Flat Earth.
If you lie about the shape of the Earth, that's a huge lie, and that should incense anyone. Just like we saw with SpaceX, complete fraud, and young children believe they're going into space. So yeah, that's something that I would definitely be active about. Cat.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I don't think this much I would do to go out and just be rude and cause trouble. You know? That's not really helping. If you need to protest something that you don't like, then you should be protesting your town hall or whatever.
Yeah, it's ineffective, isn't it? Let's face it. You know.
Yeah, and it's I don't know.
It's just being a pain in the arse. You know that it's not going to be perceived as activism or protest, is it? It's just going to be perceived as some rude twat. You know that what he did, I think.
That was very rude.
Should we have another clip?
Yeah.
You're gonna like this one, I think. I thought this was great. So, and finally this evening, something to warm the cockles of your heart. My current favourite flatty, Donnie from Flat Earth Watertown, New York, goes out to do some flat-smacking street interviews. Now, Donnie has spent many hours on his own protesting against the man. But it seems you don't always need to make a protest because sometimes one finds you.
Hey everybody, I'm back with my buddy Bobby here. And several months ago, he was in one of my previous Street Talk videos, and I told him that Flat Earth was a revelation of Jesus Christ and that he should look into Flat Earth. And here it is a few months later, And Bobby, what do you got to say about flat Earth?
The Earth is flat. If you look it up, you'll find out. Go online, look in the Bible, it will say that Earth is flat. It was said way back in the day that the Earth is flat.
So now you are aware that NASA uses CGI animation to fake space.
Yes.
And there's waters above in the firmament.
Yes, there is.
Well, that's awesome, Bobby. Thanks for your testimony. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, my name is Harold Harris, and I'm a friend of Donnie's, and we're talking about flat Earth right now. Now, the thing you don't know is that NASA is trying to put a rocket up in space again within the last 20 years. It's been, but I don't believe that the Earth is round. I think it is flat. Nobody landed on the moon.
Nobody landed on the moon.
Yes.
All right, Harry.
And I'll continue with that. I'm sorry, Donnie, but I love you, and put this out there for the people. All right.
I will. People will see this video, and then you might become famous. So there's a protest going on for the shooting of the Black Lives Matter guy. This is what's going on in Watertown right now, everybody. I just missed it. They're down on the square. Let me see if I can get the footage. Black Lives Matter. Wow. A lot of support here in Watertown. A lot of support here in Watertown for what's going on in Minnesota. Look at this. That's awesome. Look at this. Coming up this way, everybody. All right. Wow. This is crazy. Look, everybody, I got a sign. All right, now I got one. So this one just fell off somebody's car. Look how crazy this is. All right, everybody, so I got a sign too. Black Lives Matter. What do you gotta say?
Black Lives Matter.
That's right. That's right. This is ridiculous what happened in Minnesota. All right.
What happened in Georgia?
Yeah. Thank you. What's up? Justice for George. All right. What's up, guys? I got my sign still. It is gridlock still down here, everybody. Gridlock.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Right here. I give you a hug. You see it.
What's up, brother? What's up? Yeah. We love you, brother.
Look at this shit right here.
Yeah. That's right.
Let's go. You see it.
Hell yeah. We got your back, brothers. We got your back.
Amen. Amen.
Say what you like. I think that guy is brilliant.
Well, his friends might not be, but he had a He was good there in the protest.
Yeah, I just love the way he just grabbed a sign and now I've got something to protest about.
Right place, right
goes.
time. Now he's got a whole bunch of new people that maybe one day he can share the flat Earth truth with.
Right. Yeah, I like that guy, and I like that clip. I thought it was cool. And I think people were talking about the nature of the protest, but it seems like quite a sensible way to protest in your car. You know, because you can protest and you can, you know, make a noise like a protest, literally, but, you know, maintain social distancing, you know. So well, you are doing, aren't you, if you're in your car, you know what I mean? You're all gathered at a protest, but no one is getting infected by anybody else.
Even though they jumped out of the car and hugged him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Doing that.
There was that, of course, yeah. And he was half naked. But anyway, I think that guy's cool. I think, you know, because he's sincere, you know, he really believes it. And I think it's evident that he really believes it because unlike almost every other flat earther, he does the sort of things that you would do if you really believed it. Like turning up at town meetings, you know, trying to get legal support for the idea. That's what you should do if you think a massive lie is being told, etc., etc. You know, that would be it may not be successful, but
as opposed to what you wouldn't do, so.
But what do you guys do? You don't do anything. You sit there, like, for instance, Oakley sits there, and I hear this sort of rhetoric all the time that the globe is dead and it's crumbling and it's all over. But what does that mean? Because nothing's changed in my reality. It's just on YouTube, isn't it? You know, where the globe is dead. And only a very, very small select corner of YouTube at that. Go ahead, Chemo. Sorry.
No. I was just saying. You were saying he's a real flat earther, and I was just wanted you to say, as opposed to what you think a fake flat earther is.
Well, you've gone out and done some activism.
No,
Chemo,
not me. I'm just saying in general. I was just in general.
I think if you've done activism, I think that is a sign, at least. I think that you must really believe it. I can't imagine people standing in the street for hours to
when you say
troll people.
When you say fake flat earther, I mean, I find it hard to believe.
I don't mean fake. I just mean because I think it's. I don't know what it is, but I think that people, they say they hold the belief, and I think they do. I just don't think that they're really fully committed to it deep down.
Right. They don't care about what it means. Somebody like this cares.
Right. I mean, he keeps going to those town meetings. I mean, he can't at the moment because they won't let him in, but social distancing, you know. But he still turns up and hassles them in the car park outside, you know, as they're going in. Tries to get interviews with them and stuff. So, you know, he is committed to his cause. And, you know, and not many people are, I feel.
Well,
Anthony's quite committed to his cause.
Yeah, Anthony. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Has anyone noticed Anthony's views shooting up recently?
Oh, really? No, I haven't.
Oh, with the sub
videos. He's got some crappy video that suddenly got 4,000 views or something. Oh,
Yeah,
speaking of which, while I've still got an audience, guys, please subscribe. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I was at 908, I think, at the start of the show. I'm nearly at that wonderful 1,000 target. So then we can have super chats and memberships, and all our lives will change for the better. So please, if you aren't subscribed already, please do it now. Just click that button. It will make my life so much better tomorrow. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, guys. I needed to say that.
Again, I mean, this is how long do you think this guy will be doing what you're seeing for? You know, I mean, some of the flat earthers that you know have been around for many years now, and this guy obviously is excited. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah, and they've never done anything in that time. I would say for the vast majority, haven't done a thing.
Because that's not something you could do. We've built the pathway for this guy to be able to go out there so freely, okay, and walk the streets so freely, being able to say the earth is flat. I mean, there was a time you could never even speak of the earth being flat, right?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not true.
No, that's exactly what happened. There are still very few people saying the earth is flat, as you well.
What would happen to you then?
Even though you know there
there
are many flat earthers out there, but they don't come out because of the ridicule. So just because you see this new guy here who's seen the work that we've put in, okay, taking you guys on day in, day out, and then now he thinks, right, that's something I can do, and I'm going to take it on to the next level. Well, that doesn't make any other flat earther less of a flat earther, Jam, just because they're not out there dancing in the streets, shouting from the rooftops here. Yes?
Chemo's not lying. I did 30 days in juvie for saying the earth is flat in school.
I mean, I would just say we all want more. Yes, but again, there's a lot that comes with being a flat earther. So, you know, you guys are in huge denial. There's millions of you that deny this. So, you know, it's a long, hard journey. And like I say, just because you see new flat earthers getting excited, which they should, and try to take it to the next level, which they should, doesn't make any other flat earther less or fake flat earther.
No, not fake. It's just they clearly don't care about it in the same way, right? It's the same difference between somebody who believes in a cause and someone who's an activist. One of them obviously feels that a lot more deeply.
Do you think there's a lot of flat earther Spurs that like care more about their YouTube fame and community than they actually do about the earth being flat?
I mean, again, all of this that you see now was never the initial idea. You know, the notoriety, this fame, or this fortune that you think comes with it, or whatever. It just comes with it. So people like to give super chats. They like to pay for content. But the main thing is you know, the shape of the earth. So anything that comes with it is just extra baggage that just happens to be there as a result of being on YouTube, and lots of people being on YouTube, and YouTube allowing money to be given to YouTubers. So it's not the person; it's YouTube.
It's YouTube's fault. Okay.
Yeah, blame the tube. Thanks to Bruv. Thanks to Bruv for subscribing. Nobody else has. Please subscribe, guys. Come on.
Cheers, Bruv.
Come on. It's just clicking a button. Just click. That's all. Click, please. Means nothing to you and so much to me. Shall we round it up then? We've gone way past 2 hours. Unless anyone else has anything else to say.
No.
Okay.
It's nice to have Lewis back.
It is good to see you back, Lewis. Good to see you indeed. And I'm glad that Chemo came as well, although, you know, the audience aren't, but it is what it is. All right, let's finish it off. A great big thank you to everyone. Oh, Chemo, you need to stay quiet when we do the end titles. Well, everyone does, in fact. Just in case you didn't know that. A great big thank you to everyone who has donated to my PayPal so far. If you can support the show, please follow the links in the description. And please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Join us again next week for more fabulous flatness. In the meantime, if you see something that you think should be included in the show, please post a timestamp link in the comments section of this video. or join our Discord server. The link is in the description along with channel links for tonight's panel. Our Discord has nearly 2,000 members and we managed to keep a conversation going virtually 24/7. We welcome new members with opposing views, so click the link and join us. Thanks again to tonight's fabulous panel, and thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back around the same time next week, so until then, please rate, comment and subscribe and share this video. Good night.
Talking about it and do something!
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate. Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent because your friend was?
My name is Logan Paul and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and